Okay, right, today you are going to transfer your chosen image onto your Lino tool square and then cut it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your piece of tracing paper, will be cut into a square for you, over your chosen challenge. Remember there's 1, 2 or 3. I've gone for challenge number 1. Then you take a 2B pencil, or you could use 4B, and you just trace over all the lines. You don't need to worry about making the lines the same thickness as they are on the image. You also do not want to be shading any areas that might be, might have colour or shade on the image. We are just doing line in this first stage. So press quite hard because you want there to be enough graphite on this front side of the tracing paper to transfer onto your design sheet. So you're going to do an A4 sheet and you're going to transfer this tracing onto it twice, and then you're going to do the same thing onto the Lino tile, but I'm just going to demo the Lino tile. It's the same process. So when you've done that, okay, you've gone over all your lines, just carefully peel off your masking tape if you're using it. There we go. Do it gently so that you don't damage the sheet underneath. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to get your Lino tile. Now some of them, I've got one side which is slightly more wrinkly than the others, so try to choose the smoother side. Then take your tracing, okay, flip it over. Alright, so if this is how it was originally, okay, you're going to take it so that the side you've just traced on is placed front down onto the tile like that. Try to put it in the middle as much as possible. You might want to put a little bit of masking tape just to secure that in place. Just make it a little bit easier. You don't have to, but as I said, it does help. Okay, so just put a little piece on each side. Okay, there we go. And then you just repeat the tracing process. Press quite hard. I mean, not so hard that you break the lead, but hard enough so that the image will transfer onto the other side. Okay, so if I peel that back now, you can just about make this line out. That is the graphite from the pencil which was on this side of the tracing paper and has now been pushed off onto the tile. Okay, so just keep doing that. Turn your tile as you go so that you have a better angle. You need to trace directly over the line, otherwise it won't work. If you find that it's not transferring, you probably just didn't press hard enough to begin with when you were tracing this image. Okay, so you can just take your tracing paper off and retrace if you want to. As I said, don't worry about making the lines the same thickness as the image. Keep turning it around. Remember, it's much easier to draw curves when your hand is inside the middle of the curve. So you can just see that I keep rotating this as I'm going round. Ooh, there we go. Like that. Follow all the lines. Okay. Right, as soon as you've done that, okay, you want to carefully peel off the masking tape again if you're using it. I just find it a bit easier. Okay, put that to the side for a moment. Now you've got your image. Alright, it is the opposite way round, but because when you print it, it will be the same way round as the original image. So that's not a mistake, don't worry about it, that's part of the process. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a cutting tool. You're going to have a handle like that. You unscrew this silver bit to allow you to slot in a head like that. You are going to use for this a V section. Don't know if you can see it there. Basically, the tool is shaped like a V like that, so it takes a nice curve out, a nice groove out of it. Push that into the slot at the top like that. Okay, wiggle it down and just tighten the tool like that. When you're working with the Lino tools, it's important that this curved section goes into the middle of your hand, and then you wrap your fingers and your thumbs around like that. If you use it like this, you're not going to be able to put enough pressure onto the tool, as I said. So you open your hand, lay it in the middle and wrap your hands around it like that. It is really important that when you're cutting, you never have your hand in front of you like this, because it is very easy for the blade to slip and it will take a nick out of your finger. It is perfectly safe as long as you make sure your hands are always behind the blade. So whenever you're moving your tile around, make sure that you move your hands at the same time like this, so they're always behind. It's usually easier to start at the beginning of a shape and you just slowly glide it around like that. Okay. If you find that you have to stop before you get to the end of the line, it doesn't matter, but don't start from the end of the line. Take the tool a slightly or just a little bit back and then carry on. Okay. You can keep it there if you want to, so you can stop moving it in the tile, you can keep it there, and then you can just move the tile round. So the reason I was saying to not worry about the thickness of the line is because it will automatically become wider when you use the tool. So you can see that the line that you're cutting is going to be much wider than the line that you drew. That's not a bad thing because you want the lines to stand out when you print. You can go round and you can just neaten some bits off really carefully. You can see I had a bit of a wobbly bit on my line there. If you've got bits like this, okay, there are two ways you can get rid of those. Number one, you can just come from the other side and it will automatically come out, or you can just put your blade in like that upright, don't know if you can see what I'm doing, and that will just nick it out like that. Okay, so I'm going to start here on the other side. Now I had my hand in front of me, so again, as I said, be really careful not to do that. It is very easy to do though, so please be really careful. Gently turning around so that it meets up with the other side. Okay, and you would just continue that process until you'd cut everything out. Remember, do not remove any sections, any large areas at this stage. That is going to be the next cut. What you're doing for now, as I said, is just getting rid of the lines. Oh, I did it again. See, it's really easy to do. Little bits at a time are fine. If you're not feeling too feeling too comfortable, just do a little line, so don't press it in as much, just do a little groove like that, and then you can always go back over it later and make it a little bit deeper. It's really important that they are deep enough that when you roll the ink over the top, the ink won't flood in the lines, because otherwise you won't see them anymore. So they do need to be relatively deep. Again, you can see I've just made a little bit of a wobble there. Don't worry about it too much. The nature of this process is it's not going to be like a perfect, smooth, graphic style finish. It is going to have a really nice kind of handmade, slightly wobbly effect, and that is part of the charm. Alright, so as I said, you would finish doing that to all of your areas in the tile. Don't worry about the pencil coming off on the tile, it's not important.